All right. Who's better, DeAndre Ayton or Bam Adebayo? If you had to choose one of these centers, who would you say is the better basketball player?
Bam.
Why are you going with Bam as opposed to DeAndre Ayton?
Game is more modern. Play point center some, pass the ball, score when you need to. Also a way better defender and can guard basically 1 through 5 on the basketball court. It's Bam with no doubt in my mind. No questions asked, really.
No questions asked. Okay, so I'll say this. I think Bam is definitely more versatile. I think he's able to do more. But I think if I had to choose one, DeAndre is a better player. I think upside, overall potential. I mean, they're both young. I think it's, again, one of those situations where, if you get one of them on your team to kind of build around, it's not a bad thing. But I think what it is as well is like with DeAndre playing with two other Hall of Fame guards, the attention isn't as high on him. I mean, Bam is the second best player on a team that's on the verge of, possibly going to the finals. I mean,
that's not necessarily true because someone could argue Tyler Hero is better than Bam.
Really?
And yeah, he's their best shot creator on their team,
especially when he gets going. You think that's accurate?
I don't think it's accurate, but I'm just saying it's just kind of like one could argue like that whole second and third option kind of switches for the Miami Heat. But Miami's not a team where like they really have like true 1, 2, and 3 options really, because their offense and the way they kind of go about their business is kind of like whoever has it going has it going. It don't matter if it's Jimmy Butler, don't matter if it's Kyle Lowry, don't matter if it's Max, don't matter if it's Victor Oladipo. Like it just depends on like who has it going really. So
yeah. I mean that's a good thing for them, to have like a balanced attack, if you will. And I know a lot of people always talk about, you need a superstar to win. Well, at the same time, if you have a team where the opponent doesn't really know who's going to go off tonight, I think that actually helps. But even like, we talk about Bam, he's a guy that can set up literally all of those guys. Being a point center, you don't see that every day. A guy that can do a little bit of everything, right, on the offensive end. At the same time, guard, like you said, 1 through 5 on the defensive end. I know he missed some games this year and stuff like that, but
I don't think, and that's another problem. Like he can play the point center role, but I think he's a hybrid big. Like he played power forward, center position, but it's just like he's not really a true center. Like I think the Miami Heat probably need like another. It would benefit for having a guy like Mitchell Robertson playing the center and then moving Bam to the power forward position, or like a Robert Williams. Of course, they're not gonna get Robert Williams, but like something of that type of caliber that will make him be able to play the 4, make him play, DHOs better. Just a lot of different things. It will open up their offense more if he was playing the power forward role strictly and not having to be like their, center.
Yeah. Well, shit. I was getting ready to ask. I mean, I asked, who's better, DeAndre or Bam? But maybe, if they were teammates, you're talking about they might need another 5 on their team. I would say this. Fortunately for Bam and for both of them, we're not at a point in time of the NBA where the center position is truly dominating, right? Like it's not really, like the 90s, and it's not like there's a bunch of bigs going around give you, 30 and 15 or whatever. It's a guard and wing heavy league. As a matter of fact, you made the case that those two guys, DeAndre and Bam, are near, I would say, the top. And obviously we talk about, Jokic and Embiid, but I mean,
yeah, of course.
I mean, it ain't.
Yeah, it's not. They're top 5 easy.
Yeah, but I say after like 6 or 7, it starts to get,
Yeah, after Joe Embiid and Nikola Jokic, just pick your poison based on the center position. Like,
well, I mean, even after those two, I mean, you got those two, right? Jokic and Embiid, you got DeAndre, you got Bam, you got Rudy. There's 5.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. It gets nasty. It's not really. Yeah. It gets nasty. But I mean, for his upside, he's had potential. DeAndre Ayton, his game would be better suited if he was playing at a different era, like early 2000s, 90s, and stuff like that. Well-rounded, kind of a traditional big. Can, take you outside 15 feet. Also can like really, he can hit a 3 occasionally, but I think he would benefit for a system that kind of plays a more, I'm not going to say because the Phoenix Suns play a pretty good offensive system, pass friendly, but I just feel like the Spurs, I think the Spurs would truly unlock DeAndre Ayton's talent and potential. Like I think he would be the perfect fit for the Spurs system. and they're used to having like those traditional bigs and kind of like letting those bigs be the number one option on their team. I think they would open up a lot of like potential, untapped potential if he went to a team like the Spurs.
I mean, you can make that case with Bam as well. I mean, you talk about a first pass heavy team. I mean, just the idea of like, just imagine if a guy who's that great at passing and feeding his teammates, like Bam was in San Antonio.
Yeah, but I would say more so DeAndre Ayton because his game is more well-rounded and he's more of can get more buckets. Like can score the ball a little better than Bam. I think for Bam's case, it's just like, yes, passing, defense, scoring here and there, but it's just kind of like, I think Miami's the perfect fit really for Bam. I just think it's like he has to be more aggressive, I think, going forward. And he's only 23 years old, so like a lot of untapped potential. But when he's aggressive, he looks like a baby KG. When he's not aggressive, he looks like a guy that's, possibly a third or fourth option on a championship caliber team where he really should be striving for at least being a solidified number two where we have no doubts in our mind that, Bam's the number two option on a championship caliber team.
I'm not gonna let you slide by him being baby KG, but I will say this though: if he can continue to develop, especially with the current roster that Miami has, where there's not like a lot of pressure for him to go out and give you 25 a night, you know what I'm saying, and do all that, I think we may be talking about possibly, multiple championships. And the way that team is constructed, right? I don't see a lot of egos and shit like that, but I mean, I put like this. To your point, I think with the team and situation that Bam is in a way that's allowed him to thrive. Even though, you mentioned that they, could use a center. I still think even with the position that he's in, it's obviously working out well. But do you play this? Do you feel that either of them are like system players?
No, I mean, no, not really. I think, no, not really. I think, like I said, you said you're not gonna let me slide with that baby KG. When Bam is aggressive, athleticism, length, defensive capability, mid-range, Bam has all that. It's just a matter of motor and aggression. That's what Kevin Garnett had for his entire career. So me saying like, when he's aggressive, he can be something similar, be like a disciple of KG. I think that's right on the nose, especially if you look at how Kevin Garnett played his entire career.
No. I get it. I mean, like if Bam like flips the switch and becomes more aggressive, it'll work out well for him. But I'm trying to think of another player not named Kevin Garnett that it could be. Kevin Garnett was,
Kevin Garnett was
first
a phenomenal
ballot MVP. You know,
yeah,
what I'm saying?
True. But Bam has the tools. It's not like he doesn't have like all those things that I mentioned that Kevin Garnett was great in: skill set, length, athleticism. Like Bam has it all. Like he already can guard 1 through 5 in the basketball court. Extremely athletic. He's arguably probably the most athletic big man out there. So it's just kind of like, it's not like I'm saying, even passing, like he's a better passer than Kevin Garnett. I think mid-range is where he needs to continue to develop and stuff like that because, Kevin Garnett was money from the second level on the basketball court. But it's all about aggression. It's all about like motor. It's all about like going out there and doing it every night and being consistent. Like it's not as far off as you think. Just because it's Kevin Garnett, I'm not saying he can be what Kevin Garnett was, but a baby Kevin Garnett. If you tell me that Bam can't average 25 in 12 sometime in his career, that's not. I'm
you know how challenging it is to average 25 and 12. I think that's.
And he averaged 16. He averaged 17 and 10 and went to the All-Star game one year.
Is that 25 and 12 though? You're saying
he's 23 years old.
Okay,
he's 23 years old.
I hope he gets it.
He's 23 years old.
His brother, but 25 and 12 is very challenging to do, especially consistently. And we're not just saying like 1 year. 25 and 12. Come on now.
But look, what you also have to look at team dynamic. Kevin Garnett was playing with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he was a number one option through and through. So it's just like Bam is in a situation where he's on a better team early on in his career. So that factors a whole lot of things. That's why I always talk about young guys coming in and they get drafted. Yo, go get your stats. If Bam was playing in OKC, he'd probably be averaging like 22 and 10 right now. Easy. If he was playing in Orlando, he'll be averaging 22 and 10 right now. And then those comparisons that I'm saying, if you look at like skill set, athleticism, lift, mid-range
No,
capability,
no.
and people be like, oh, like it's serious. So it's just like team situations matter. Even people can say the same thing about Deandre Ayton. If he was on a different team where he was clear cut favor and they were running the offense through him more and more, his numbers would be better. So untapped potential.
I'm all for saying
serious.
that these players would be better if they were on a different team, right? You say it all the time. Team situation does matter. I agree. If Bam was a little bit more aggressive, cool. If he's on a different team, cool. I would be fine with that. But you mentioned someone as talented and as skilled. You can make the case, like we argued about this before with Tracy, this idea of like being one of the best one-on-one players 6'9" and up. I don't see Bam entering that conversation. Now, even if we were just talking about the defensive side of the floor, all right, cool. But I think to reach that level, if we're going to talk about KG, that's a different type of like, okay, it might even be more than just mode, because as much as that's the number one thing that people always talk about with KG, his passion, his heart, his energy, he was also very, 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 very good, right? And Bam is good, but I think there's levels. Like if you want to talk about KG and Anthony Davis, okay, the skill is there, but
That's because
KG was not.
That's because you've seen Anthony Davis do it longer. Like Bam is 23 years old. We've seen Anthony Davis been in the league 8 years. So of course you can look and say, oh, okay, well, Anthony Davis compared to Kevin Garnett. I mean, of course. But when a guy came into a situation where it wasn't clear cut, he's the number one option compared to those other two, then of course their stats, and of course maybe that may seem far off, but if you break things down for early on in a career, skill set, athleticism, length, ability to guard 1 through 5, Bam fits that mold. So
Okay,
that's a tough.
Okay, fine. How about this?
That's a tough.
He may check off all the boxes, right, the same way KG does, but the level at which he's able to check off each box is different, if that makes sense. So like if he's, let's say, he's able to guard 1 through 5. All right, okay, cool. So could KG, but who could do it better? Right? So let's say Bam could score 20 points in a game, so could KG, but who's more likely to do that? So I think, and again, to your point, he's still young. I just heard KG and then just immediately thought, I don't know. I know Deandre early on in his career, I don't think he's getting it now, but early on in Deandre's career, he got compared to like David Robinson, right? This idea of being a big, a strong, agile, athletic big that could run the floor. If the motor is there, look out. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the thing too about comparing like, what was it, 90s and into 2000 players to players of this era, and how things have changed a little bit. Nowadays we got guys that, are handling the ball a little bit more, versus back then guys were like, way more in the post. And I think DeAndre is, of course, but like, we talking about scoring titles with David Robinson. With KG, we talking about MVPs. I think there's certain, there's levels. There's just levels here.
First 5 years in the league, Bam's averaging. He's averaging this year 19 and 10, shot 55% for the field. Kevin Garnett, 5th season in the league, was averaging 22 and 9. So one was clearly the cut first option on the team in Minnesota, playing more minutes. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like what I'm saying is really, really crazy when you really dissect and look at it. I'm not saying that like he's going to go out and have a career and be a first ballot Hall of Fame like Kevin Garnett. I'm not saying that. But to sit up and say like, yo, when you look at skill set, when you look at everything in a talent perspective, and when he's aggressive, he can be a baby Kevin Garnett. That's not really, or that's that can be his ultimate potential. I'm not really. I think that's 100% easy. Especially if you look at their early on in their careers, first 5 years. Kevin Garnett's 5th year, he's averaging 22 points. Bam's averaging 19 points. I'm not even a stats guy, but it's just like one was playing clearly the number one option on the team, and Bam, like I said, a legitimate argument can be made. Like, is he the second option or the third option with this Miami Heat roster? Now, it doesn't matter with Miami, but I'm just saying, it's just like those are arguments and those are like questions that we both can literally have. Like, is Bam a number 2? Is he a number 3? I don't know, this and that. But it's no argument on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kevin Garnett was the go-to guy.
It's funny too. A lot of people have that conversation. Well, so-and-so is the best player on his team. He's the number one option. So that's why the numbers are changed. But to be honest with you, you can actually argue the exact opposite. If another player, right, was if a current player right now is a third option or the second option, whatever, and they're playing well, who's to say they'll be doing that if they were the number one option? Even though we talk about opportunities and getting shots,
Minnesota wasn't great. They weren't great.
I'm not talking about winning just yet. I'm just talking about in general, because I think we all can agree some guys are better when they are the second or third option. That's just a fact. So I understand the point of, Bam is averaging, decent numbers, even though he's not a number one option. So we might say, well, what if he was number one option? He might be having even better numbers. Well, at the same time, you can make the case that he would have worse numbers. Now, I don't think that he would.
No, I don't think he would either. I know he wouldn't, because it's the same thing with Devin Booker. Like, people talked about the same thing with Devin Booker. Talent is talent at the end of the day. What you watch, it's just like you put a great team around players. If they're extremely talented and they're putting up and they're producing numbers, they're going to be even better when they have a right team around them. We saw that with Kevin Garnett. So the same thing probably would happen with Bam. Like, Bam probably would be averaging more numbers, but if you put a team around him, regardless if he has to be the first, second, or third option, I'm pretty sure, based on what we're seeing now at least, he probably would be fine, because the talent is there with Bam. It's just the motor. It's just like the aggression. It's just like the consistency. And one will argue, sometimes when you get drafted in a situation where immediately you get the reins, Bam was behind Hassan Whiteside for a couple of years because they paid him that max deal. So it's just a legitimate argument can be made. Like I always say, sometimes it's beneficial for rookies to go into a situation where it's your team is horrible, so you can be on the court, so you can get the minutes, so you can get the stats, so you can get the numbers, so you can get the confidence early on in your career instead of waiting in line if you get drafted by a great team. So it's pros and cons to both. Like Jalen Green, it's better Jalen Green got drafted by the Houston Rockets than got drafted, let's say, by a team like the San Antonio Spurs, where it's a guard-heavy system. They got plenty of guards down there, and he's probably not going to play. And he's probably going to have to sit on the bench and develop. Or like the Golden State Warriors. That's true.
And I remember you saying that about OKC. Like, some teams should be happy to go get drafted by OKC. I don't know about that
go to
that city specifically, but I get the vibe.
No, you want to go to OKC?
No, ain't no way. No, I'm good.
You want to get drafted to play. You want to get drafted.
Yeah, say that. I don't know if OKC is the very first, at the top of my list when it comes to cities. There's 28 other
give me
cities I could get active with.
Give me to Orlando. Give me to the Golden State Warriors. It's just damn,
But early, it depends though. All right, so that's it too. Would you rather go, if you're a rookie right now, right? Let's say let's say you're JG, right? Let's say you're Jalen Green. No, actually, let's say you're Chet, right? This draft, literally right now, right?
Yeah.
And you got the opportunity right now. And if you could choose, would you rather go to the Warriors or the worst team in the league? I won't say a name.
We're going to the worst team in the league.
That's so tough.
Go to the worst team in the league.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not like you're gonna be when they talk about the Warriors when the Warriors won a championship, they ain't talking about you. they ain't talking about you contributing. You was on the team clapping up, getting on hand and water bottles and shit. But they not talking about you contributing.
Hey, they can say whatever they want, but just know your boy got a ring.
Yeah. They say that. Yeah. They say that you was on the team. You wasn't a fact. You wasn't a contributing to that party of success. Let's be real here now.
I'm 19. If I'm 19 years old and I got an NBA championship ring, can't nobody tell me shit. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine. But if you playing 6, 7, 8 minutes a game and nobody knows your name, and you going into a club and they still going to Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, who that guy in the back? Was he the second overall draft pick?
There was who was a early draft pick that ended up winning NBA title very early on in his career. I think his name is Tim Duncan. So what happens? Sometimes you get lucky enough.
Tim Duncan was in the starting lineup, factored in minutes, contributed to that party.
I said Chet.
Check. Let me say something.
He might be playing behind Draymond, but I'm just saying, if James Wiseman is injured,
Chet gonna get drafted. He may not even be ready with OKC, bro. That's for real. He may not even be ready with OKC.
that's heavy.
Meaning, like, it's not a guarantee he get drafted by OKC. And I keep saying OKC because I just feel like, yo,
why the shade towards
OKC is getting him. OKC is getting. He's going to OKC. Like, I know that Orlando has the number one pick. I'm pretty OKC, and they just fit. Check, they just fit each other. Like Josh Giddey, they already tweeting and stuff like that. You know, trust me, he's going to OKC. But like I'm saying though, like he's not even a guarantee to go to OKC and start 30 to 35 minutes off the bat, bro. There's a lot of things, like he's talented, he's super talented, but it's like there's a lot of things that some question marks on his game. So it's just like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay, so
he definitely ain't playing in Golden State Warriors. Like, he'll play, but it's just like Jonathan Kuminga, he plays sometimes, but he ain't playing as much as he could in OKC, and he's a stud.
But if that boy get a ring, I don't think he's gonna be tweaking.
Yeah, he can get a ring, bro. He can get a ring, but like I said, getting a ring and then not really getting to start your career until year 3 and 4 is hard. It's hard sometimes.
All right, so
it's hard sometimes.
There's a reason why I asked, like the Warriors and the worst team in the league, because it's almost like, do you take the guaranteed ring or do you try and develop, if you will, get the opportunities? And I didn't want to mention someone in the middle of the pack. I didn't want to mention being a 8 seed, because we know that's the worst thing you can possibly do in this league. But I mean, I personally would go with the ring because look, here's another thing too. You talk about opportunity, which I agree. Experience is the best teacher, right? In anything in life, right? But at the same time, if you go to a championship team, that means you're surrounded by winners. You know what I'm saying? That means you're surrounded by guys that have done it before. That locker room presence, that veteran leadership, that's real. And again, I get it from an X and O standpoint. You got to be out there on the floor. But at the same time, something tells me that you playing with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green in a Hall of Fame team like that, you're going to get a little better, right? You're going to get upgraded some way, somehow, versus you going to a bunch of guys that, hell, the oldest guy on the team is what, 23? Like,
yeah, you're going to get better. You're going to get better in training camp when you really practice. But in the regular season, when they don't practice, when they just really just walk through, just vibe. Walking through. Yeah. You'll get better like training camp, preseason. But in the regular season, these guys ain't practicing. Like, if you don't know, they not practicing. That's the one thing with the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, Hardy came out and said, Phil Hardy came out and said, like, we practiced. Like, we wasn't really like, those guys didn't practice. Like, when you get in the regular season and you ain't really practice because there's so many games, you trying to like manage your body and stuff like that. It's a lot of walkthroughs, That's why people talk about like James Harden saying like, yo, I haven't got my body right in 2 years. Like he's ready to get to the offseason, get his body right to really train, to really develop, to really go into the season like, yo, in shape or whatever that case may be. So that's what I'm saying. Like the regular season, these guys got to play. You got to travel. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things like that. But look, I don't know. I'm all about the stats and I'm all about the money because like we looking at we just talked about Deandre and there's a reason why people talking about now like the Phoenix Suns are questionable about giving him a max contract or he may go somewhere else and stuff like that. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous because if you let him walk, you shouldn't let him walk for free. But it's just like, what are you going to do? Like, who are you going to swap out for DeAndre Ayton? Like, he's 23 years old. Like, what's the people are saying like, oh, the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, the Atlanta Hawks. Well, Atlanta Hawks, you trade DeAndre Ayton for Clint Capella. I mean, yeah, you get Clint Capella, rim protect, catch lives and stuff like that. Chris Paul is about to be 38 years old. That's like, I don't know. That I wouldn't really like because a duel. What's more scary when Chris Paul retires? A duel of Devin Booker and Clint Capella, or a duel of Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, a guy that has a well-rounded game. So it's just like they need to get out their feelings and just pay the boy. But like I'm just saying, as soon as the Phoenix Suns became really good, DeAndre Ayton's, his numbers had to dip. Like they had to play a team-friendly game and this and that. It's not about the numbers and stuff like that. Just for them not to pay him last offseason. Now he's going through the same situation, may not get paid the max by the Suns this offseason. So it's just like, say that, but
had he got his ring, with the Suns, had they, beat the Bucks in the finals, he would have been sitting in a very comfortable situation. You got the ring, so now the loyalty definitely is out the window. Like whether you want to stay with Phoenix or not, hey, I got my ring. Somebody gonna pay me now.
It shouldn't be no loyalty. It shouldn't be no loyalty. Get your money, Get your stats, all that loyalty stuff.
Right, I
people
agree.
People preach that loyalty stuff until money. It's time to talk money.
Of course.
Trust me.
Of course.
It's always about being loyal. You should be loyal. You should do this and that. And like, yo, we believe you and we want you to do this. We want you to be with us and play on our team and stuff like that. They do that in life too, not just in the NBA. Life. Oh, you contribute to the success of this company. Till it's time to talk money. Till it's time to actually have a real conversation and not feel like, oh, I don't want to be taken advantage of. What can you do? Oh, well, this and that. Like, no, like, F all that.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to know that GMs are also cheap. But you know what? We're talking about a number one overall pick here. And so the fact that y'all made the decision to get Brahman, you feel me? We're not going to talk about, them not getting Luka or Trey or whatever. It is what it is. Like, y'all made the decision to get him. Right? Like, and Deandre is good. Like, we haven't talked about some dude who, like, at this point, obviously, like, you're paying off potential, of course. But at the same time, there's very few question marks. Like Deandre has proved himself, whether they want to admit it or not. He might not be Shaq, but like he also was a pretty good basketball player for the years that he's been playing with y'all so far. So y'all gonna need him if you're interested in winning a championship. You're going to need him. You can't win one without him. So y'all do the math, literally. Like. It's not even
any show he can contribute on a winning team. I think people need to recognize that. Like he showed he can contribute on a winning team because I like this player a lot. Nikola Vucevic was all-star down in Orlando, putting up hella stats and numbers. Then he got to Chicago Bulls, and it's been crickets. So sometimes when you can show and prove that, yo, I'm contributing on a winning team, a championship caliber team, even though my stats may be a little down compared to what they would be, like, yo, show me the money. Because there's guys in the league that can't go into his situation and contribute. I just named one player that looks totally different. Totally different.
Vucevic is also playing with 2 All-Stars. And
so what? Totally different. Totally different. It still looks totally different. All right, it is what it is. Kristaps Porzingis, totally different. Like,
you know what?
It is what it is. Totally different. Like, let's be real. When it's time to win games, like, and that's what you go back to that conversation that we had originally. Like, yo, like, I don't know sometimes, like, just because they're in the bad team, the stats may not improve. Or if they do improve, would they? It's kind of like the reverse with Devin Booker. Like, we've always felt that, yo, Devin Booker stats on a bad team, yo, he's talented. Like, yo, he gets a good team. The talent is there. All he needs is a good team. And he showed that. But sometimes it's actually the opposite. Stats on a bad team, really on a bad team. Oh, he's an all-star caliber. He's underrated. Do you get on a good team, and not only do your stats dip, your overall level of production dips. Like, people are wondering, like, yo, like, is this the same guy, like, in Orlando? Is this the same guy in New York? It's just like, it's that one Supreme Dreams video. I don't know if you've seen it. Like scouting, like to go play with the Lakers, scout with LeBron, and they get all these players, and then they get to the Lakers. He's like, hey, he cold. They get to the Lakers. It's trash.
I know exactly.
That's trash.
And his face was dead serious. When you look at it,
he scouted like, damn, like, I was hoping. I was a hooper. Like,
but you know what, though? That's what happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see expectations get real nasty. It gets real nasty.
Let me tell you something. Jordan Clarkson is a great combo guard in this league. He looks really good with the Utah Jazz. When that boy was in Cleveland, when he had real expectations, playing with LeBron, it was like, damn. Like, it was like, what's going on?
The deep side is crazy. But I mean, I think that's a good point too, though. Like, opportunities. Sometimes opportunities present themselves and guys rise up to the occasion. It's all about fit. Like, there's probably 10 to 20 guys in this league that you can really just toss into any situation and they'll be fine. But for the rest of the league, it really is about like
10, 15 kind of heavy. 15 kind of heavy.
Well, no, not really.
Maybe 10. I always say the top
really.
to
maybe
10.
No. I would say like 15, 20. I mean, because who's, let's say, the 15th best player in the world? off the top of my head, no shade. What? Bradley Beal,
James Harden,
Dame,
James Harden, Russell Westbrook.
Okay, but
like we see what happened this season.
Okay, you just named two of the most talked about players. You just named two of the most talked about players in the league, like during the regular season. So that's why. But I think if you really go down that list of like the legitimate top, like you're talking about Jimmy Butler, right? Zach LaVine. Like I think these are guys. Like if you toss them on a certain team, I think they would be all right. Like it's not. You feel me? Hey, I'm not saying that if those guys were to lead a team, they would make the championship. I'm just saying that like fit to me doesn't always, because you say it all the time. Talent is talent.
I got
we learned our lesson this year, but
I got slapped in the face this year with my. I still believe it, but I'm looking. I'm just like, you open the door, you peek in to see like who's behind there. Like that's how I feel this year going forward because I got hit hard in the face.
You and me both, man. You and me both. My expectations were bodied.
Yeah. But Philly and the Lakers. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's only two teams. Never mind.
No. I'm just talking about with super.
Let me not. Let me not. Let me not.
Two teams.
Let me not. The sun is out. All right. So you mentioned two names, right? You got KP and Vucevic, two guys that you clearly support. So, cap or no cap? Yeah. Cap or no cap? Vucevic is a better ball player than Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh my God.
That's probably would have been a good who's better. Those two.
Yeah, basically the same with part two. I mean, I don't know. The Kristaps Porzingis is more talented, of course, but it's just like you always say to this, when that talent is not producing or coming up with productions, does it really matter? So I guess Nikola Vucevic.
Man said, I guess, like he was forced to say it. That sucks.
Yeah, I guess so.
Heavy work. Heavy work.
I don't really have too much to say. I guess Nikola Vucevic, more well-rounded, can 3-level scorer, rebound and stuff like that. More durable player. So. When you start talking about that, that's how you know. You start talking about durability. That's how you know you just trying to find something positive. But yeah, give me Nikola Vucevic is a better player. Kristaps Porzingis.
Man started talking about durability as a part of the overall resume of those two players. That's very, very tough. Very, very tough. But yeah, you already know what it is. Of course, housekeeping items. Make sure you subscribe to No Pump Fakes on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Subscribe to No Pump Fakes on YouTube. All right, 5-star rating and all that. All right, enjoy these finals, y'all. All right, we made it. We made it to the NBA Finals. And just like that, y'all, we gone. Peace. What's up, y'all? It's Theus McBee. Make sure you go follow No Pump Fakes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your podcasts.